I am so glad to have Elaine Hall from the Miracle Project here to tell us a little bit about herself. So welcome, Elaine.
Thank you, Ruth. Really happy to be here.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got started in what you're doing now?
Absolutely. So I started as a film and television acting coach, and I worked with the biggest, brightest stars in Hollywood. But what I wanted more than anything was a child of my own, a child who could call me Mama. It was nice to be called Coach E, but I was waiting for Mama. So I wasn't able to give birth biologically, and I adopted a little boy from an orphanage in Russia. When he came to me, he was barely 2 years old. He spun around in circles. He stared at his hand for hours at a time. He banged his head, and today we would know that child obviously has autism. At the time, this was 19 years ago, and I didn't know what was going on. But all I knew was if I joined him in whatever he was doing and went into his world, we would connect. And what does any parent want but to connect with their child? So we would create this beautiful relationship. If he would spin in circles, I'd spin with him, and we'd make it ring around the rosies. And if he would flap his hands, I'd flap, and we'd be birds together. So all of my years of creativity was able to be channeled and funneled into connecting with my severely nonverbal autistic son.
Wow,
I found a doctor.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So that's what kind of got started. And what I do now is I do that kind of work with many, many, many children and teens and young adults.
Terrific. And that's how the Miracle Project was born?
That's how the Miracle Project was born. The Miracle Project is an inclusive theater and film program for individuals of all abilities, so autism and other special abilities, as well as neurotypical teens joining us. And what we do is we create original musicals, which we perform live, and with a film component as well. And we perform it at some of the best stages in Los Angeles.
That's fantastic. Can you share one or two success stories that's come out of this?
Absolutely. There's an HBO film called Autism the Musical that won 2 Emmys and profiled my work with kids with autism specifically. I have students. I have one student in particular, Spencer, who you know. Spencer, when she first came to us, literally was rolling on the floor, crying, had tremendous anxiety, was not able to really talk without having someone standing beside her in class of her peers. And gradually, inch by inch, we joined her. We celebrated every single progress. She was able to sing one song on stage once with us, and gradually her confidence built, her anxiety lessened, and as she says, one day opera just came out of her throat. She is now an opera singer. She has performed at the Pantages Theater in Los Angeles with Stephen Stills and Neil Young and Jack Black. And she recently went to China and performed opera, and she gets standing ovations everywhere she goes. But most importantly is she has friends, lots and lots of friends. The Miracle Project, it doesn't cure autism, but it cures loneliness.
Yeah.
And then my son's success story. He's nonverbal autistic. He's 21 now, and he communicates through sign language and through typing. He has been a semi-professional model. He's also appeared on stage alongside of Neil Young and Stephen Stills as typing, and he's also presented at the United Nations.
Wow.
So, and has a job working as an organic gardener. So that's, 2 good stories of really allowing a child, an individual, to grow through inclusion and the arts.
not just grow, but blossom. It sounds like, right? Yeah.
Yes.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Okay, so how can people reach you or get involved?
We can be reached at themiracleproject.org. Many ways to get involved. We're always looking for volunteers. We are expanding the Miracle Project around the country, so if you're interested in starting a Miracle Project, get in touch with me. We are looking for sponsors. We need sponsorship for scholarships for students, and we're also about to produce an anti-bullying play. You could be one of our producers and be a sponsor of an original musical that will be performed at one of the nicest theaters in Los Angeles. So we can always use donations, volunteers, and support.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much. I have to just tell you that as you were telling me all those success stories, I got chills up and down my body because it's just so beautiful and so amazing what you're doing and bringing to the world. And I want to just thank you. And I'm so glad that we met in China. We went all the way across the world to meet, and we live not far from each other. So I'm just thrilled to be connected with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ruth. And your songs help me all the time. So it's wonderful to get to know you.
Awesome.